Hey guys, it's been a little while since I posted anything, so today I wanted to show you something really special. This is a pride and joy of my collection. It's a 1970 dated, Izmash produced Russian AKM. This is built off of a parts kit. What's really interesting about this particular rifle and the history of the kit is this was actually one of the PLO kits that came in the early to mid 2000s. Little history on those guns. They were actually sourced from Israel in two different ways. They had some milled guns over time that were captured during like the wars of the 60s and 70s, and those guns, from my understanding, were used as like trainer guns, and they were just in a lot of cases they were just really beat up. And then they also had a shipment of rifles and other weapons that were being sent to the PLO from Iran, is my understanding of the story, and they were intercepted by the Israelis. You had East German, Russian, Czechoslovakian, even Iraqi and Chinese, and all sorts of interesting stuff that was in the shipment. So a lot of history and interesting variations in those guns in that shipment. But um, the so anyway, they were actually, they were captured by the Israelis, and I get they were eventually bought by an importer and then cut up into parts kits and imported into the country. Um, the nice thing about about these kits is before 2005 you could have the original barrel as part of the parts kit. Now, due to ATF importation, you can no longer have the barrel has to be cut. So this actually has the original Russian produced barrel. The barrel condition on it was actually not too bad. It was shot a little bit, but not all that much. It's all the main parts match on it. The front trunnion, bolt carrier match. The top cover. Let's see if I show you here. The I don't know if you see that. The top cover, the gas tube, and the selector lever do not match, but they are all period correct for this gun. 1970 was actually a transition year for these rifles in the AKM production. So you have some parts that were used for a little bit and then phased out. Excuse me. The gas block on here was actually used for a short time after this, and then they transitioned to a different style gas block. When I actually got this rifle, there were a few things that needed attending to. The stock here is actually a replacement stock. The original one was actually whoever mounted it. It looked like an angry beaver went to town on the inside of it, and it was just loose. If the screws weren't in, it would have fallen right out. So I replaced that with a proper stock from a vendor online. This is actually period correct for this gun, and it's got a nice kind of used but not abused look to it. Also had to replace the handguard, lower handguard, because it was a Tula lower handguard which was on this gun, and this one is actually an Izmash produced. It's actually a later style with the front retaining clip that would actually go under here. It's just a placeholder until I can actually find the correct dated one, which would the only difference really is it doesn't have that front retaining clip on the front of the handguard. The other cool thing about this is it's got Russian Cyrillic selector markings, and just a really nice gun. I picked this up for about $1,400, which some people would think it's probably a bit high for an AK, but the Russian guns, especially the ones from the PLO parts kits, command just a premium on their own. And I had it was something that was very high on my list, and I had no problem paying that. When I got this gun, it originally did not have this finish. It was originally just a parked finish. I don't know if that was done in Israel or somebody else, whoever bought the gun or the parts kit, did it themselves. So what I did was I spent some time researching the original finishes that came off of the Russian AKs, and so I did my best to duplicate it. It's a really hard finish to duplicate because it's got this very squid black color to it. A lot of the paints that are available in the United States just do not do it on their own. But I used Rust-Oleum high or barbecue high temperature paint, and I also used some Duplicolor auto enamel high temperature paint, which is actually my favorite stuff to use. You bake it in the oven, and if you prep the gun right, prep the metal right, it actually comes out it comes out hard as nails. So I used two different finishes on this because the Russian guns, while they were smooth, they still had a little bit of texture to them, at least from the pictures that I've seen. And I think it came out really, really nice. The top cover, it's hard to see, but the top cover is actually a bit darker than the rest of the gun because the top cover was actually, on those guns for the most part, was actually just a little bit darker paint. Took it out, ran some rounds through it a few weeks ago. It ran flawlessly. I'm really, really happy with this gun. I've got 3 Russian mags for it. I've got a 30-round Izzy produced Bakelite mag, and then I've got 2 Russian steel 30-round mags. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with everything. It took me around 5 years to actually acquire one of these due to money and everything else. Like I said, they're not a cheap purchase. Some of the kits go in excess of almost $3,000. But I got real lucky on this. Like I said, I paid about $1,400 for it. It's built on a Nodak receiver, which kind of dates this one because it still has a matching serial number to the rest of the parts, or the main parts, which and Nodak stopped doing many years ago. So this gun was probably, I would say probably, built maybe 5 or 6 years ago. But like I said, definitely happy with the gun. Before I go, I also want to give a couple shout outs as far as the information that I've provided here. There's a couple guys on the AK forum that are really knowledgeable on the Russian stuff. And if you guys really are curious about this gun or others like it, I suggest signing up to the AK forum and check out the Russian section. A lot of knowledgeable folks on there. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned. I'll be posting some stuff later on. And you guys take it easy.